The Yankees lose the three-game set at Tropicana Field to the Tampa Bay Rays. However, they are able to avoid the sweep. So a much-needed win for the Yanks in the last game of the series. If the Rays had swept the Yankees, the lead on the loss side would have been down to 2 games, which is as low as it would have been since probably early May. And the Yankees have gotten no offense at all. Aaron Judge is the entire offense. And Judge, this series continued to do well. 2 more homers for Judge. And that was the reason, and also good pitching as well, was the reason why the Yankees won the last game. So that was a really big win. I still think that the general theme should be that this team is in a bit of trouble. Whether they win the division or not, like I just think that the outlook for this team is not great. What really hurts and what stands out for me is Andrew Benintendi hurt his wrist on a swing on Friday night, a swing and a miss by Benintendi. And unfortunately, he's been placed on the IL, and he will be having surgery um, to, to help heal that wrist. It's a broken hamate bone and in his wrist. And they're saying that it's not definitely season-ending, but it could be. It's kind of how I feel it with Matt Carpenter, where we might not see Matt Carpenter again. We now might not see Andrew Benintendi again. And that's gigantic. He was one of the few players that was doing well and someone who I felt like he got off to a slow start, but I think he was a positive contributor and someone who really could have helped in the playoffs. I really, really hope that somehow he can make it back. But here's the other problem is even if he makes it back, same thing with Carpenter, how will they be when they return? Giancarlo Stanton, case in point, and we know that he's always been streaky, but he has not been the same player since he's returned. Now, I think eventually he gets it going, and when he does, he can really carry a team, but he's been awful, so that's the other thing. Staying on that theme, DJ LeMahieu, he has been playing, but has done nothing at all. That toe is a problem. That toe injury is a major, major problem, and this reminds you of last year where he got hurt down the stretch. He was playing, but he was clearly hurt to the point where eventually I don't think it'll be like this, where eventually, like, he didn't even play in the wild card playoff game against Boston. I don't think it's to that level, but he's not producing. He's hurting the team. But there's a lot, and Anthony Rizzo as well. Anthony Rizzo did not play this series. He stayed back in California originally to get an epidural because his back, continues to be, not right. And I think he'll be back in the middle of this Twins series. I don't think we'll see him for the first game. I don't even think we'll see him for the second. I think at earliest Wednesday, Rizzo will return. So there's that side of things. Also, the Yankees did call up Oswald Peraza, which made a lot of Yankees fans happy, but there was, with the caveat, interestingly enough, he did not start. So he came up, and on Friday, he did not start. He came off the bench, struck out, still searching for his first hit in the majors. He played at shortstop in game 2, and then game 3, he's at second base. So Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who again made an error, Kiner-Falefa is still the shortstop. So Peraza, like, what I don't love about that is you got to be careful about Peraza's development. Peraza, he played like 10 games at second base. That's it, just 10. He is a shortstop. And it sounds like they would rather keep Kiner-Falefa at short and let Peraza play second. Now, I'm sure it'll be a mix. The point is this. We haven't seen anything to suggest at this point that Kiner-Falefa will play any other position besides short. Now, the only other one that's really logical would be third base. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa won a Gold Glove as a third baseman with Texas a few years ago. He's probably better for third baseman than shortstop. I believe they said that Josh Donaldson will soon be gone on a paternity leave, so I'm kind of expecting that any day now. So maybe with Donaldson out, maybe Kiner-Falefa, they swing him over to third, but I don't think that's a guarantee. So to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to kind of have Peraza play second. But again, the whole thing is long story short, the whole thing is a complete mess right now. You had Oswaldo Cabrera batting third today, and honestly, thank God he did. He had a big sac fly, which I don't know if Giancarlo Stanton necessarily would have. So Cabrera, who really has cooled off quite a bit, you kind of understand why he's batting third. So offensively, this team is a complete mess. But all I really wanted was for the Yankees to win 1 out of 3, because realistically, I didn't see anything more than that, and they got it. So this was a really big win in terms of the standings. I still don't think they're out of the woods at all. But what's interesting is the Yankees now play the Minnesota Twins, who the Yankees have historically been amazing against. So if the Yankees don't do well against the Twins, then you really know that there's major problems. And then the Yankees play against the Rays for a final time at Yankees, for the season series. But this will be at Yankee Stadium, and the Yankees are much better at home. So I think that I think the Yankees will be happy to get back to Yankee Stadium. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But as far as the series goes, the Rays, the Yankees only scored 3 runs in these 3 games, and they had no hits, runners in scoring position. It was about as bad as it gets, and we've seen this. Like, not only is it a Yankee thing lately, but it's certainly against the Rays thing. Definitely a Tropicana field. But I'll say this: the pitching overall, until things got a little bit shaky at the end of Game 1, was really, really good. Domingo Germán really was good for a while until he made a mistake in the 7th inning. Clark Schmidt in Game 2 was pretty solid, didn't go too deep. And then Frankie Montas was really good, but he didn't go deep either. And we'll have to discuss Clay Holmes and where I feel he should be in the bullpen. But Game 1, Jeffrey Springs in the mound for the Rays, who's had a really nice season and again continued to do well against the Yankees. And Domingo Germán, like I said, and in this one, no Peraza. Aaron Hicks is someone who, with this Benintendi, even before the Benintendi injury, Aaron Hicks was someone that was kind of seeing a little bit more playing time. And unfortunately, I hate this, but Aaron Hicks is going to be in the lineup regularly, and that hurts your team. So at this point, Aaron Judge was batting second. I think, by Game 2, Judge was leading off. But in Game 1, Judge batting second. And Benintendi, let's just jump straight to that. Benintendi in the 3rd inning takes a swing, and he's in pain. He's in discomfort, and he's out of the game just like that. Oswaldo Cabrera, who did not start, comes in for Benintendi. But the Yankees, they get nothing going. And then in the 4th, Josh Donaldson, and it's been, look, for Josh Donaldson, his fielding has been good this year, but this was bad. And for Donaldson, it's just, it's not really going to come around. You're waiting for a while. Maybe Donaldson can kind of salvage things, but his numbers are really, really bad. And so you hope that his defense remains solid. But with 1 out, Donaldson, there's a fielding error. Harold Ramirez chops it over to third, and Donaldson was kind of caught in between. And it's an error on Donaldson. And then to make matters worse, Arozarena hits a ground ball to Donaldson. And at first it looked like he was going to go to second. He decides to throw to first. It goes by Mayhew. Luckily, though, Oswaldo Cabrera throws to Trevino, and they get the runner out at home. So Ramirez, who had reached on the LeMahieu error, he's thrown it at home. So let's see, but that doesn't end the inning, as there's 2 outs, and David Peralta gets a clutch RBI single to give the Rays the 1-0 lead. That was all they needed. Springs, goes in, pitches into the 6th, and JT Chargois replaces Springs, and he gets kind of left for a ground out in the 1st and 2nd 2-out spot, so the score remains 1-0. And Colin Poche does the job against the Yanks in the 7th. Bottom of the 7th, Germán finally, kind of gets into trouble that really ends the any chance the Yankees had. A 1-out walk for Paredes, and then a 2-run homer for Bethancourt. So that makes it 3-0 Rays, just like that. Greg Weissert comes on to finish the inning. In the 8th, Jason Adam goes 1-2-3 versus the Yanks. In the bottom of the 8th, it gets messy. It gets really messy. It almost ended up being nothing, but Weissert, there was a tough chop by Yu Chang on a 2nd and 3rd 2-out play. Weissert, it was all or nothing. He fired to first, and the throw goes away. So the Rays make it 5-0 lead. Then Anthony Banda, who was since he was either, I think he was designated for assignment. He's either sent down, he might have just been designated for assignment, and they called up Ryan Weber. And as well, I should mention, Estevan Florial took the roster spot of Benintendi. But for Banda, really bad. He a bases loaded walk to Walls, a bases loaded walk to Diaz, a 2-run single to Margot. And so Marlon Gonzalez, the position player, had to come on and end the 8th. So that's how bad it got. As Aaron Boone called it, an embarrassing 9-0 loss for the Yankees. but like, rock bottom. There's been so many rock bottoms, so it's like, what does that mean? And the Yankees would follow it up with another loss in Game Two. So you get that blowout in Game One. So the Game Two is Clark Schmidt versus Corey Kluber, and Corey Kluber, back to his Cleveland days, and even now, is just he dominates the Yankees. Even though you take away those Yankee starts for Kluber, and the stats probably don't look that good, but you include all those, it's got to be what now, maybe 3 to 4, and he's been excellent. I mean, Kluber pitched 7 innings of scoreless ball, which he's just not doing that these days. But the way the Yankees are going, that's just what it is. But Clark Schmidt was decent. Clark Schmidt, um, gave the team a chance, and it was an improvement over his last, start against Oakland. But in this one, the I'm trying to think of a name for them. The Oswaldo twins, I mean, one being Oswald Peraza and the other Oswaldo Cabrera, were back in there. So Connor Falefa took a seat in this game. That's kind of the key notable sit in that one. But again, Yankees, there's not a whole lot to talk about offensively for the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton with some bad base running in the first inning. Ball kind of scoots away from Mejia. Stanton thought he could make it there. They threw him out. So that kind of ended any hopes of something going on that inning. But then in the third, you get a Mejia single on a play where maybe LeMahieu could have made it at first, doesn't make it. Then Jose Siri gets a single, sack bunt by Taylor Walls, and then a 2-run single by Yandy Diaz. And Yandy Diaz, that's definitely one of their best hitters. Is Diaz? He's a very, very tough out, and we'll talk about Diaz at the very end of the series. But Diaz gets a 2-run single. This was not really hit all that well. It was kind of good place. I mean, I guess it was hit pretty well, but it was also good placement where it kind of goes off of Schmidt past Glaber. The infield was in, and so that's a big 2-run single. And I see that right there, and I'm thinking, yeah, Yankees are probably not coming back, and they wouldn't. And so Schmidt ends up going 4+ innings. Lou Trevino comes on, and Lou Trevino's done a good job. Lou Trevino, I almost think in terms of pecking order, to me, Trevino should surpass Marinaccio. Marinaccio has struggled lately. Trevino has been a little bit more clean. So if I'm thinking about it, if that is the pecking order, I would now have Trevino ahead of Marinaccio personally. In the bottom of the sixth, Trevino lets on a runner. He gets 2 outs, and they bring on Marinaccio, who finishes off the inning. But Marinaccio, in the bottom of the seventh, gets into some trouble. And it's first and second, no out, and a very bad base running mistake by the Rays helps the Yanks as Taylor Walls. It's a single. It really should have been a double. It should have been an RBI double, but Francisco Mejia, with really bad base running, is out at home. The problem was that because Jose Siri thought that Mejia was going to be, easily scoring, they got kind of caught up together. And so they were caught in a pickle, and, good job by Glaber to eventually tag out Mejia. And so what could have been really bad is all right. So Marinaccio's out of the game. So really bad job by Marinaccio there. And Jonathan Lewozco, who's been really good lately. Like, I think Jonathan Lewozco has kind of emerged again as kind of your top bullpen guy right now. Does it mean that he should be the closer? Not necessarily. I just want him in the biggest spots right now. Jonathan Lewozco, who was amazing last season, was really bad for long stretches this year. He's finally coming around, and I think if you had to ask Aaron Boone right now, who's his most trusted guy to that pen, I think it's Lewozco. He's able to get a double play of Yandy Diaz. A nice play by Oswald Peraza on that play. Pete Fairbanks goes 1-2-3, replacing Kluber in the eighth. And Lewozco goes 1-2-3 in the bottom of the eighth. So we go to the ninth, and Jason Adam comes on, and what do you know? Judge leading off the inning, a solo shot. His 52nd homer of the season makes it 2-1. But that was all, and that's just so typical. Judge gets the homer, then LeMahieu pops out, Stanton strikes out, and Donaldson strikes out. And so the Rays win it 2-1. At that point, they win the series, and Game 3 is about salvaging the series for the Yankees and avoiding that sweep. And luckily they would. It wasn't pretty. The offense wasn't good, wasn't really great, but they were able to get it done. And a big reason for that, again, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge hits a leadoff homer 450 feet off of Sean Armstrong. So this was basically Sean Armstrong and Ryan Yarbrough splitting duties. They combined for 5 2/3 innings. And Frankie Montas was really good in this game. 5 innings of one hit ball, no walks, 7 strikeouts. He just threw a lot of pitches. 93 pitches through five, unfortunately. The Rays worked him, and they got to that bullpen. But the Yankees were able to hang on. And in this game, um, Gleyber Torres would see the bench. So Gleyber Torres, you can just tell. Gleyber, even with all the stuff going on, Gleyber's at risk for losing playing time. Peraza played second base. You had Higashioka catching day game after night game. But also another ugly looking lineup. You got Connor Fluff batting sixth. You got Hicks batting seventh. Like I said, Oswaldo Cabrera batting third, which, it's just all kind of crazy. But like I said, Judge starts it out with a leadoff homer. His 53rd homer of the year. He is now 8 homers away from Roger Maris's 61. And so that makes it 1-0 Yankees. And that would be it for a while. And Montas would go five. There was a play where the Yankees challenged it, and I don't know why they even would have attempted it. There was no replay that showed it. I should go further back. The benches did clear in the second. Josh Donaldson, there was a pitch up and in on him. Donaldson, look, he's a bit emotional. He got mad at Armstrong. There was no intent there. And look, for a team that's struggling, you don't mind that sort of stuff. But, if I was a fan of and this is why I've always disliked Josh Donaldson, it's like, Josh, why are you getting mad? Clearly he wasn't throwing at you. So that happened. In the fifth, DJ LeMahieu pops out to the catcher Betancourt, and Boone, I guess for some reason, I'm not exactly sure on the ruling. I think he wanted them to look at it, but they determined that it was a challenge and it was an unsuccessful one. Sure enough, that in the bottom of the fifth, there's a play. It was wrongly called by the home plate ump, and he didn't stop there. But this was in the Rays' favor, where Taylor Walls reaches on a catcher's interference. Kyle Higashioka, it was just a foul tip. So Boone, I think, was very upset about the fact that he felt like he shouldn't have lost the challenge in the first place, and so he wasn't able to challenge this, and he gets ejected. But Montas goes five, and this was really Montas's best start as a Yankee, by far. You wish he went further, but you can live with it. Let's go to the bottom of the sixth. Lou Trevino comes on and pitches a scoreless 6 innings. So a good job by Lou. And then in the seventh, you get, of course, an Aaron Judge double to start things off of Chargois. And LeMahieu reaches on a fielder's choice, and this was the key thing. LeMahieu doesn't get the job done. LeMahieu is grounding out to short regularly, but luckily Walls tries to throw Judge out at third, and Judge is safe. That was a very big break for the Yankees. Colin Poche comes on the lefty to turn Oswaldo Cabrera around to the right side. Cabrera is a weaker right-handed hitter, but Cabrera gets the big sac fly. That was really, really big. Gives the Yankees a 2-0 lead. And then Ron Marinaccio comes on to the bottom of the seventh. And Marinaccio surrenders a leadoff double to David Peralta, and then it's a walk for Paredes. So it's first and second, no out. And luckily, Betancourt lines out to Judge. So Marinaccio did not look good whatsoever, and he didn't look good the night before either. Look, I think you need to take this into account. Right now, for me, Ron Marinaccio, as good as things were, I'm not really trusting him. So Lewozco comes on and is able to kind of clean it up. There was a walk in there, but he does get Yandy Diaz to ground out. And so the Yankees, keep that 2-0 lead. In the eighth, the Yankees have an opportunity against Matt Whistler. Connor left the singles, and Hicks reaches on a fielder's choice and a fielding error. And so you have first and third no out, but unfortunately Oswald Peraza strikes out looking. It's been a rough start for Oswald Peraza, but it's very, very early. And then Jose Trevino pinch hits for Higashioka, and he flies out to shallow right, no advance. And then Aaron Judge flies out to deep center, but there was 2 outs at that point, so it remains 2-0. Then Jonathan Lewozco pitches a 1-2-3-8. Again, it's a very sort of similar script to the night before, where you go from the only difference is it was that there's a 9th inning in this case, so Clay Holmes comes on, but the night before you had Trevino onto Marinaccio, onto Lewozco, and the same type of success, where Trevino and Lewozco were successful, Lewozco very successful, and Marinaccio not so much. In the ninth, Yankees go down 1-2-3, and the bottom of the ninth, Clay Holmes comes on, and Clay Holmes, he cannot be the closer, as far as I'm concerned. he, but the problem is you're lacking options now. Wandy Peralta, he needs to be in the mix, and I think he was one batter away from getting in. If that became bases loaded, two out, I'm almost certain Wandy Peralta was coming in. So anyway, 2-run game, and Clay Holmes just gets absolutely demolished in the ninth. These were no cheapies. He got hit hard. Leadoff double, David Peralta. Brujan lines out, so the Yankees kind of catch a break there. Runner on third, Peralta goes to third. Then Francisco Mejia pinch hits and gets an RBI single, makes it 2-1. Then Taylor Walls lines out, so everything is hit hard. And then Jonathan Aranda, doubles to left. And so now it's second and third, 2-1, 2 outs. Like the game is on the line right here. And Yandy Diaz, and the Yankees caught a break here. It's a 3-2 count, and it was a low pitch. This was a pitch that should have been a ball. Look, it wasn't like by a mile. I've seen worse, but like if I'm a Rays fan, I'm red hot. And so Yandy Diaz strikes out looking. It should have been ball 4. So Clay Holmes, you couldn't luck out any more for Clay Holmes. I think that's a big thing here because Clay had kind of looked better. But yeah, for Clay Holmes, this was really, really bad. And so, would I be surprised if he's the closer the next time the chance arrives? Well, think about it this way. If it happens tomorrow, it probably almost certainly will be Holmes because you got to think all of Trevino, Marinaccio, and Lewozco are unavailable. So you're looking more at the likes of Wandy Peralta will be in the mix. Trying to think who else will be in there. But yeah, guys that you wouldn't really normally want to be. Maybe Greg Weisser, maybe Lucas Licky. I might be forgetting some names there. But, it might be a bit of patchwork, But anyway, the Yankees are able to win a really key game, 2-1. And so they are 5 games out of the Rays, 4 on the loss side. So, that was really, really big. And the Yankees have done that, where the Yankees have been on the side of sort of, not getting swept. They didn't get swept against the Rays, where they almost did at Yankee Stadium. They didn't get swept against the Blue Jays, where they almost did. And then here, almost swept, but they avoided it. And those were big. I think if you're a Yankee fan with the state of the way they're playing, you really just do. Like I said, you sadly kind of end up happy about it, while also acknowledging that this team is definitely in trouble. I don't like the way things are, and I think the pitching can kind of piece it together, but I think offensively it's going to be a major, major struggle. So now let's just preview the Yankees-Twins series. So the Yankees will have a 4-game set against the Twins before a 3-game set home against the Rays. And the Yankees won 2 out of 3 at Minnesota. It wasn't easy, but the Yankees always find a way to beat the Twins. So game 1 will be Chris Archer versus Jameson Taillon. And Archer, the Yankees have faced him a ton over the years. But Archer, it's been a struggle this year. And Jameson Taillon, it's been, he's coming off of that sort of forearm injury, but he's fine. Taillon, not missing a start, so he'll be in there. And then it's Joe Ryan, who's had a nice season, younger pitcher, against Garrett Cole. And we got to remember, Garrett Cole really, really got hit up, badly against the Minnesota Twins in Minnesota. So that won't be easy. Then it's former Yankee Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray back at the stadium. And this will be Sonny. I'm almost certain this will be Sonny Gray's first start. I don't believe that he had with the Reds. They weren't here. So Sonny Gray, first time back at Yankee Stadium against Domingo Germán. And so that's game 3. And then game 4, no one announced for the Twins. It seems like that'll be Nestor Cortez. It seems like the plan is for Nestor Cortez to be lined up for that Thursday start, and that's a good thing. So yeah, for me right now, the rotation, it's in pretty good hands, and that's not even counting Luis Severino coming back at some point. So I think the rotation, it's okay right now. And then the bullpen, I'm more concerned about the bullpen than the rotation. But anyway, this is a big series for the Twins. The Minnesota Twins are tied for first in the American League Central. So there's a lot of line there. And then also the return of Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela to Yankee Stadium. So this will definitely be a series to watch for sure before a really big series against the Tampa Bay Rays. So this will be a key week for the Yankees back to Yankee Stadium. And the struggles continue. But it could have been a lot worse. And the Yankees lose the series to the Rays, but they do win the last game. And Aaron Judge just continues to have this amazing, amazing historic season.